Dear Ben Glebe, John Weaver from Roseman, California. It's the 28th of July 2023. The time index, it's in the afternoon. It's warm as hell out here in the California West Coast. I caught that video that you put out there regarding this tiktoker who thinks homelessness is a choice. And she's treating it as a joke. YouTube and Google will kick me off if I happen to use the vernacular I have screaming and shouting in the back of my head. Because I have been through this before myself. And it's not a picnic. It's not a choice. It's survival. May I explain something to you, Mr. Ben? Please? I've been there. Not fun. It doesn't matter how long you may have had it. For a brief few hours to a week to a month. People have been out there for years surviving. Dealing with bureaucracies of the cities who may or may not be friendly to them or not. Most of the time unable to find a place to sit, to rest, to eat, to take a piss, or even to call a place home for a short time. And you're going to be dependent upon county and people's goodwill and charity for survival. My brother and I had taken care of our mother for a while. When she passed away, we took the life savings and whatever we could save up, moved to a trailer home out here in Roseman. We lived in Lancaster, California, in an apartment complex for 5 years. Went to a trailer home after my mom was dead. And for about a year and a half, we had to battle the property management and the manager on site, as well as the leasing agent, to keep in the place, but we lost it. We were kicked out of the house, literally, and onto the street. We had to nearly steal a U-Haul van to keep our stuff in while we were trying to find a place to live. We were lucky enough to get help from Salvation Army and to get veterans assistance for my brother, but it would take about a month to get an apartment. We were screaming and yelling on social media for donations, and luckily enough we were next to an airbase that actually had elicited help from some of the personnel there. They were paying our rent in a motel. We were getting our food from food giveaways. My brother's Social Security couldn't pay for another room if we could, because we were definitely tapped out. And it was scary every single day that we couldn't get someone else to help us pay for another room, because we would get kicked out instantly if we couldn't. There was no extended credit. But I'm grateful that we actually had people to help us with this. It's not that easy dealing with the stigma of being homeless. I have been among the homeless. I've also been in food giveaways, talking to other people that couldn't afford their rents but still struggling like crazy. They couldn't afford to feed themselves, so they had to go to food giveaway places. Yeah, there have been people doing panhandling left and right, and they think that's a choice. That's survival, damn it. City of Lancaster has a mayor out there who doesn't look too kindly to the homeless population. He's always been blaming them for everything and every crime that happened in the city. That no one likes them, but except for the people who can actually afford their homes, kept voting the guy in, and thank God for term limits. He's coming out in the next year or two. Because nobody likes this mayor at all. Rex Paris. He made his fortune off of people's miseries by being a shyster lawyer. I'm sorry, that's character assassination. You have to have character to assassinate, actually. But even with that, he managed to use about 10 to nearly 20 years of driving people insane in that town, including the homeless, and driving them nearly out of the town and being harassed constantly by the sheriff's department out here. I heard stories in the county welfare areas. I heard stories in the food giveaway. I talked to people about it. It's not fun. They were talking about him a great deal, and I didn't even like him. I even met him once. Weakest handshake ever. I was shaking with a limp fish. My brother was trying to keep his mouth together. He wanted to meet the mayor. We met him once. We weren't impressed with the guy. And he didn't look too kindly upon the homeless anyway as he saw them passing by, because he was privileged by being driven in a car. I had walked among them in this town of Lancaster, and also my current place of Roseman. Some people try to take care of the homeless, but it's people try to take care of the homeless out in Lancaster, but there was supposed to be a city bond about 10 to 15 years ago for a shelter to be built. It never did, because the NIMBYs, not in my backyards, decided otherwise. So the homeless population still gets to be shifted and shuffled around, thrown into damn jail cells for a short time, back out again. They get to be transported over to Twin Towers or another equivalent out in downtown Los Angeles. Then, and once they're released, they're sent over to the Union Station with identification tags. Maybe a pass to get the hell out of town, maybe on a bus or train stop. And they head back over to the Antelope Valley. They got no other place to live, because down in the city of Los Angeles, there is no place for the homeless to be set up. Despite what Mayor Karen Bass has been trying to do, it's still too much out there, and it's still too much out here in the Antelope Valley. Man, do me a favor. Google map it. See what you're looking at geographically. Small town of Roseman, right next to Edwards Air Force Base. That's home for me. More than 20,000, and we still have a few homeless people walking among us over here. But we've got 20 or 30 times, maybe more, in the city of Lancaster and the city of Palmdale. But most of the resources are tied up in Lancaster. The Metro Rail system that we have out here, the Metrolink, train stations for the undergrounds as well as the overheads, they've got a new security force trying to get rid of, one way or another, the homeless and the helpless and the drugged out. Some choices are made without you realizing it. That tiktocker is bullshit. I'm calling her on it. She hadn't walked among them. She don't know what the hell she's talking about.